Hello and very good evening to all our viewers and members who have joined us today for our third time webinar on how to set up $1 million startup. I'm your host, Sushma Morthania, Director General of India SME Forum. Let me tell you, this is the first time that we are organizing this webinar on popular demand, and it has been so popular that this has been organized in a series consecutively for the third time. So once again, I hope you find this webinar very valuable and welcome you for this show. Before we get on to this webinar, I would just like to share some basic information about India SME Forum for those viewers who have tuned in for the first time. India SME Forum is a not-for-profit organization founded in 2011. India SME Forum is 86,000 plus membership strong, and all these members are manufacturers and service providers spread across India. The four primary objectives of India SME Forum on which it stands today is facilitation, building the ecosystem, knowledge sharing, and recognizing successful MSMEs, which can lay a precedence or become role models for all the existing as well as aspiring entrepreneurs like you who have joined us today. India SME Forum has a pool of 90 mentors from different fields of expertise, and these mentors, they actually handhold, guide, and mentor all our members in various aspects of doing their business. India SME Forum is also an official implementing agency with the Office of Development Commissioner of Ministry of MSME. And by virtue of that, we run and implement an incubation center, which we call the Center for Entrepreneurship, Technology Incubation, and Business Acceleration. In short form, it is known as SETIBA. We have SETIBA centers in Mumbai, Jammu, Delhi, and Vadodara. In this, we actually help startups, people with new ideas. We incubate their ideas. Our mentors help them. We also help them with idea funding, seed funding, for design purposes. So we also serve as a design clinic. For all these incubatees, there is also scope of trademarking their ideas, patenting their ideas, for which reimbursements are provided by the Ministry of MSME. India SME Forum also helps facilitate these reimbursements. Just for your information, each trademark can get a reimbursement of up to 10,000 rupees, and patents can avail of reimbursements of up to 1 lakh rupees for domestic patent and up to 5 lakh rupees for an international patent. India SME Forum also runs an economic research and education center, which is called ACED in short form, and its full form is Asian Center for Economic and Entrepreneurship Development and Education. Under the ACED banner, we provide a series of courses and training programs, both for aspiring as well as existing entrepreneurs who wish to learn various aspects of growing and making their business more and more successful. With that, I will keep on coming in between while the webinar is on, and I will keep adding bits and parts of more information about India SME Forum as and when we progress in our webinar this evening, I take the pleasure of inviting our president, Mr. Vinod Kumar, to start with our today's webinar on how to set up $1 million startup. Mr. Vinod Kumar is an investor himself, and he invests in small and medium businesses with a ticket size of 2 million to 20 million. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sushma ji.
I
Good
will
evening.
be barging in with your kind permission wherever I feel deem fit about sharing information about what India SME Forum does and how it facilitates startups as well as existing entrepreneurs.
Thank you for your kind intro,
Thank you.
Sushma ji. It is a pleasure to be here again, and for all of us that are joining, very good evening. I mean, end of the week. Though weekends today these days have no significance because we are all working from home, and we are trying to see whatever best we can make use of in terms of the resources, technical resources, and so on and so forth. With that, I'd like to share today's subject, which is how do we set up $1 million startup? I mean, that's a big question. And a lot of you, I mean, we have close to 1,672 people that have joined us. So we are aware of the potential of enterprise in India. And we are aware of the fact that there are so many entrepreneurs that are in the making in India. And that is exactly what we are trying to enable as an ecosystem, as a group of people, as a probable, I would say, solution for the demographic dividend that we have in India, which is too many people that are willing, that are working age, that have the potential to actually take us to the 5 trillion economy that our Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi, has dreamt of. Starting today's session, I'd like to talk about 2-3 things. The first is that, Sushma ji has already given I would say, an overview of exactly what India SME Forum does, specifically for startups. Now, with that, we would like to move to the next level, wherein we will talk about the various possibilities and how exactly do we feel that startups can move forward. We have various stories that we have tracked at India SME Forum, and all these stories that we have tracked are primarily entrepreneurs from India who have become successful over the last few, I think I would say around 5.5 years that we have tracked stories through various initiatives that we have conducted. And out of these, what you find on your screen right now is 6,390 successful Indian entrepreneurs whose stories we have tracked, and over 200 plus Indian entrepreneurs who have been successful around the world. So their stories we have tracked, and that's how we have the basic information that primarily talks about what all we do. Starting, this session, I'd like to share with all of you that, when we talk about what exactly are we doing in this world, we are born, to parents who try and ensure that we get a good education. Thereafter, we move forward, start a family, have children, and then we move forward and try and figure out mechanisms of how is it that we can primarily connect with as many good people, live a good life, and finally we pass away. But let me tell you, that is not all that is to life. Life is a big show. And when I say show, on an average, most of us live to the age of 78.3 years. And for the first 5 years, none of us remember anything about our lives. But assuming, let us say that we interact with 3 new people daily in cities, and in rural areas, it could be lesser, could be maybe 1 new person a day, if not more. So that is 80,000 people in a lifetime that we meet or interact or know or come across with. That's not a lot of people. That's enough to fill up one stadium. In for example, DY Patil has close to 60,000 people capacity. But exactly how many people do you really impact in a lifetime? So there's a very simple mechanism that is touted by Paul Graham of Y Combinator, and he talks about, when you sit down and make something, you find a co-founder, and then you find the first 1,000 people to sign up with you, and in whatever idea you might think of an event, you might think of whatever you want. You get 1,000 people to sign up with you to try whatever you are bringing to them, and then you sort of slowly grow the user base. So even if we're just looking at 5% new people that are joining your story or whatever you're asking them to try, you're talking about a hell lot of people that you can actually get over the next 4 years. That's a quite a number. What you see here, what you're talking about is 2.5 crore people you can get to join up with you or try your product or service, even if you are not moving faster than 5% a week, just 5% a week. Now when that happens, just imagine that is the population of something like Israel or Greece or Singapore, for that matter. That means the entire country of a size of this size could come to your party or your event or whatever you're hosting in a matter of just I would say nothing more than 4 years in your life. Now, just imagine now if you were at it for one more year, when you take 5% a week exponentially, it's not very difficult to reach 19 crore, 80 lakh people. Now, that is a big party. Just imagine the amount of people that you can reach out and affect their lives when you do something worthwhile. It could, I don't know what it could be. It could be as small as you starting up something of a service to people, or becoming an actor for that matter, or so many possibilities that you can touch people's lives with. Now moving forward, how has opportunity fared in the last from the time mankind came to the world, and what is exactly it that we have been talking about? We started out as hunters, humankind. Then we started growing stuff. We said we have to look at what is it that we can grow, and then came the agri part of it. Thereafter, some of us felt that no, we can't just keep on growing. We need to become a warrior and snatch things from other people that might have things. So there was this era wherein everybody went to wars. So these were the ways when you could create opportunity. Thereafter, when the war started, thereafter it was like we need implements, we need chariots, we need all sorts of things. So people started to become craftsmen, and that's where people found the opportunity. Thereafter, when people started creating machines and all that, there was a new class of people that said, we are going to go to far off lands because that is where we'll find our salvation. That's why where we'll find new opportunities. So a lot of explorers came, and that stayed for quite some time. Thereafter, we're talking about another 200 years, merchants who would trade between various countries, pick up stuff from one place, sell it to the other. That was the way we created opportunities. Apart from that, you can look at so many things. When mechanization happened, thereafter you had industrialization, you had oil coming in, which became a big source of money, primarily for those lands which had oil but didn't have anything other to offer. And thereafter came the corporations who said, we don't want to own it all, and we want to become big, and we want to have sizable number of people working for us. And thereafter came the time when everybody was talking about finance. How is it that people can get financed, and so on and so forth? And the last 20 years, it's been the era of startups, wherein people are talking about where do you find new opportunities. It is those ones that are startups that are doing much better work or much bigger work than just corporations or financiers or anybody else. So it is that that is the opportunity currently. I mean, wherever we talk about this, we say we should always look at the future. Now, if we talk about the world, and we said there were 100 people in the world, it's a very simple mathematic. One can look at 26% of these 100 people are very young, so they are too young to work primarily. But nevertheless, some parts of the world still use child labor. That's besides the point. But 1.7 billion people, or 26%, are too young to work. You have another 7%, which are primarily older than 64 years of age. So that's 577 million who are too old to work. Now you have the remaining. Now that number that we were talking about was 33%. If you take out 33%, you're left with 77%, out of which 6% are unemployed around the world. Now that leaves us with certain number of people, and let me tell you, 1.7 billion, or 24% of these people, work in services. 1.4 billion, or 20% of the entire human race, works in agriculture, and 11%, or 800 million, work in industrial jobs. And that leaves another 6% who are primarily entrepreneurs. That's 400 million people around the world. Now that's a big number when you look at it. I mean, in terms of how many people are actually looking at the possibilities of creating jobs rather than just becoming I would say employees for somebody else. And we have then situations like, we say no, it's very difficult for us to succeed. There are situations that we may not be able to succeed properly, and we don't know exactly what is it that can drive us. So let us talk about one such thing which everybody uses today. This is the story of Jan Korum, who is primarily the WhatsApp founder. He was born in 1976 in Ukraine. He went to the US with his mother, and was saving money with food stamps that were coming out in the newspapers while working as a janitor. Janitor is somebody who just does cleaning up, housekeeping services, and so on and so forth. And at the age of 18, he learned to code on his own. At the age of 19, he said that I need to go to college. He went to college for a year and left it. He said, I can't handle it. I don't know what I'm going to be taught. Let me better go back to my coding, whatever I'm doing. At the age of 21, he primarily went to work for Yahoo. And he worked in Yahoo for 9 years before he quit and said, I want to do something different. So at the age of 32, the guy primarily sets up WhatsApp. And just in a matter of a year, he quits WhatsApp and says, this is not going to work. But he stays on it for another 5 years. And in the next 5 years, he sells WhatsApp to Facebook. And we all know the amount of money that he's made. And that money that he's made is primarily 1/10 of Ukraine's GDP from that one idea that he had, but his focus and everything else. And forget the roots that he came from. So it's not about roots. It's not where you come from. It's about what you can do, what you bring to the table, and how can you get as many people, connect with as many people as possible in your lifetime. I mean, we can talk about so many possibilities. We can talk about, Mark Twain said that, I never let school interfere with my education. And these are all the people who have never been to school, or even if they have been to school, they've left it. So you have Michael Dell, you have Steve Jobs, you have Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder, Bill Gates, Ivan Williams, Mark Zuckerberg. Most of these names we know. Larry Ellison from Oracle, the Uber founder, all of these guys. And they've all started companies between the age of 19 years to 22 years. And let me tell you, we all know that all of them are primarily successful. And there are also some that say, no, these guys started early, so it's very difficult to start when you have crossed that early age. But let me tell you, this is a list which is offered by Forbes, which was published by Forbes. and it started with Mark at 19, and then went on to people right till the age of 74. These are all guys who started at some or the other point in their lives, and there is ages, people, founders of all ages who are part of them. So it's never too late. So forget about the first slide that I showed you, that these are only people that have started very early, but that was primarily because they left their education and started up something else. A lot of people say, I'm not very sure. I have a steady life and I'm doing ABC and I have a steady income, and which is at times a little bit difficult, because when you look at what is it that you have, and that should not pull you in or restrain you from going out and trying stuff. You've all of these examples, right from Mark Cuban to Harrison Ford, the actor, to Andrea Bocelli, the singer. You have the Zara founder, Amancio Ortega. You have the film director of Life of Pi, Ang Lee. Each of them were doing things way different. But the day they started, they said that we want to do something different, and they went ahead and did it. Now that is what I'm talking about. So it doesn't matter that you feel you have a steady life, or I'm lost in life. I really don't know. It's very too late. These are all excuses that we can give each other, but let's not give excuses to oneself when we talk about all of this. There are also people who come up to me and say, I don't have money, so I need a lot of money. How can I start without money? So let me share here all of these stories, right from Whole Foods to American Apparel, Spanx, Dell, HP, GoPro. They didn't have any money. If you equate this sort of money to what we have in India, you're talking about somebody starting with 500 rupees. And I'll also share with you, Ed, some of the stories of people that have had lesser money than 500 rupees, and they have gone on to start, and they have been successful. It's not just started. A lot of stories again. I just quit my job. I just lost everything. I just graduated. I just broke up with my girlfriend. I've just got hired. Why? How can I leave right now? I've just started, having fun in this world. I I I I just got fired. I am sick. Life is as usual. I just got a son or a kid or a daughter, so I can't take a risk right now. I just got married. All of these are primarily excuses. But when I say that, when you talk about these excuses, these are exactly what are your window of opportunity. If you can move forward. Very simple example I'll give to you of Airbnb. All of us know Airbnb, but how many of us know it was primarily called Air, Bed, and Breakfast? Now, why Air, Bed, and Breakfast? Primarily because these two guys, if you look at Joe and Brian set up this situation. They were in the situation in their apartment in Frisco, wherein they couldn't pay for their rent. They had a room and they had 3 air mattresses. So they said, can we rent these air mattresses? Frisco is a very costly city. It's very difficult to get a good hotel for anything less than $150, $200. So they said, why can't we offer, a bed and breakfast to people that are willing to come, that are coming to Frisco? We might make some money. And they made a small website, a sort of a blog, and put that out with maps and some little information about the place that they were living in. And voila, 2 men and 1 woman showed up, and each of them paid $80 to them for the night stay and the breakfast. So that is how this company started. They went on to add Nathan as a co-founder. They launched again the company, and they were at it. In the meanwhile, they did a lot of other jobs which fetched them more money than this, again as entrepreneurs. And they were the ones that were spotted by Paul Graham of Y Combinator and said, let me help you with some initial money. And they went out when they figured out they're not growing, they're not able to catch up with this 5% a week. additional number of people using it. So what did they do? They went and added pictures of all the places that they had put up on this blog, and that is when they actually started growing. That's then that they started getting more number of people to use their services. They were rejected n number of times in terms of funding, and it is only in when they raised 7.2 million from Sequoia and many other investors that they went forward and said, okay, we've arrived. And today we're talking about this as a $10 billion company. Now, this is one Airbnb, but let me share with all of you, this one company has spawned further niches. There are more than 30 startups which have taken shape specifically from this. So there's a company which only does camping on a similar format. There's a company which only does farm tours on a similar format. So many businesses have spawned and ideas have spawned further from this. This is a story I like personally. And we have, when you have young guys, you talk about, okay, there is so many things I can do, and then you try and do what you love best. But not every time does it work. So there's the three guys who start a company, make 51 games, lose money. Over a period of 16 years, they lost money. 6 years, 7 years, they lost money. And then they said, okay, let us shut down, but let us make one more game. So they spent 15-20 days in sketching one last game, and that game turned out to be Angry Birds. So we all have, at some point in time or other, played Angry Birds. So that is the power of when you keep on trying, when you go forward, when you don't give up. The only failure that is there is when you don't try. In India, we have Devendra Bhai Shah. I don't know how many of you know this company, but most of you must have come across these products in all Indian markets. Devendra Bhai Shah started this company while not having any background in dairy or anything else. He just looked at one problem. What was the problem? Farmers in India, dairy farmers in India, did not have any place to offer their products for 2 days of the week. So milk used to be going waste for these 2 days when the cooperatives would not take milk from them. So he started out like that, and then brought in dairy technologists and so on and so forth. And today, this company is a 7,000 crore company, and Devendra Bhai Shah runs it. And it is from a very familiar, we all know the Amul story. So when people say, no, it's already been done, here's a story wherein you're just talking about one thing that was already there. But he figured out still that there's an opportunity, and I'm going to do it a very different way. And what he brought into the market, not just milk, ghee, and curd and all that, but a variety of things which are doing exceedingly well for our young population. And he anticipated that India is going to need a lot more in the future. Let me share with all my friends here that are watching today that we have a lot of potential. We have close to, I would say, more than 200 dairies. That is the potential of this size as far as India is concerned. Some of you must have read about, the possibility of India importing 10,000 tons of milk powder. That's because we keep on going back and forth between, not having enough and having enough, and then not having enough and then having enough. You had a lot of times when you were trying to buy a Amul butter and you wouldn't get it. So that is the situation that we are up against as far as India goes. And that's where the opportunity is. And I keep on saying this, India itself is a huge opportunity. I have a member from ID Foods, PC Mustafa. This guy graduated from IIM Bangalore and set up a company which was doing exactly what was being done by various people. But the way he processed it, but the idea, the branding, the reach, the commitment was way different. It was extremely innovative. And He today is on his way to becoming a 5,000 crore company. As a very young guy, 32, 33, 33 years old. And he's a member at India SME Forum. He's also an award winner at India SME Forum. So, I mean, amazing story. When we say, no, there's a saturation in the market. Now, where is the saturation? He came up with this vada batter, squeeze me and you get a properly shaped vada, which you directly put into the frying pan. This is a super hit, not only in India, but everywhere around the world. Who didn't know how to make vadas because they don't carry their grandmoms and mothers along with them. So huge opportunities in every sphere. We will talk more about opportunities in the future. I mean, all of us know all these names. How many of us know that this company, which is called Paras Pharma, set up all of these products, and these are only, apart from this fog, the gentleman still owns Fog, but he sold all the other brands to a company called Reckitt Beckneiser, which came into India and bought those brands over from him. Now, do we mean to say that there was no malam that we had in India, or no medicine for cracked heels, or no medicine for itches, or no talcum powder, or prickly heat powder? These 7 brands have been sold for 3,365 crores. And the gentleman is now working on Fog. And he says that I have a total of 15 ideas, out of which I've already sold 8. Fog is the 9th, and I have still 6 more, which I'm going to do in the future. So that is the potential. But the guy is connected to the ground. He knows exactly where to find the opportunity and how to take it forward. We know all these stories: Zomato, Theo Brahma, Cognitos, Coffee Cafe Day, all Indian stories, amazing numbers, and all started with an idea, a dream. We also know about Book My Show, Javed Habib. We say, Are Baba, this guy is, he's a barber. Today, Javed Habib is not a barber. It's a way of life. With more than 1,000 stores across the country and turnover running into thousands of crores. Thyrocare. We all used to know about our next door lab where you used to go and do testing and all that. Thyrocare disrupted the entire space. Oyo. We've all lived in ramshackle hotels in places where there were none, where there are no 5-star or 4-star hotels. He changed it for the upper middle class and said, I'm going to create a new category, and I'm going to find a niche of people that will do everything online, and we'll also be able to figure out ways and means of getting to the right product. I mean, umpteen number of stories. And I always talk about these 3 mechanisms when you are looking at innovating, when you are looking at doing things differently. The first is configuration. So what is it that I can put into the configuration of my product? Whether it is basically about structure, whether it is basically about the process, whether it's the network, whether it is the profit model, what sort of configuration am I able to bring out? The second is offering, in terms of what exactly is my product system? What exactly is my product performance? And the most important of it, what is the experience I'm providing to my customer? Once the customer experiences what I have to offer, will he come back or will he disappear? That is the most important part, which has the service, the delivery channel, the brand, and the brand promise that is there, and most importantly, engagement with the customer on a continuous basis. Now, I'll also give you certain examples here. So you have the configuration, which is the profit model, structure, network, and process. McDonald's used to only make burgers, but we all know the McMuffin. Where did that come from? It came from they allowing their franchisees to develop and launch localized new products. So you also know the Aloo Tikki burger. So that also is local. But then one innovation in one place is then multiplied across the world. Similarly, Henry Ford started the first what we call vertical integration these days. So innovation in the network, the profit model. Google, for example, they have so many new products. You know how they create those new products? Because they allow their employees to go out and work on projects of their own on the side, and then they take them over and say, okay, now these are part of Google, and we will pay you money for it. Now these are various mechanisms of how you can create configuration. Then the offering. Just imagine the product system Apple has created. So whether you buy an iPhone or whatever you buy, everything that you can use with any sort of a niche is available on your Apple Store, which is done now also replicated on the Android store through the Play Store and all that. And both the product system and the product performance, extremely important when it comes to offering, when it comes to innovating in the offering itself. And then last of all, but not the least, you have the experience. Nespresso sells coffee machines, we all know them. But the most important part of that coffee machine is the channel, is the pod, is the coffee pod that you put into the machine. Without it will not work. Customer engagement, we talk about a continuous, we used to have large manuals that we used to have for cars. And then you have a time wherein we're talking about Mercedes Benz, BMW, everybody shifted to manuals which are completely interactive. So huge numbers of customer engagement. They today offer 5-year drive-in warranty. So you have to worry about nothing. Similarly, when we talk about deliveries, there's various companies, but we all know why is Amazon broken away from the rest of the pack? Because of their Prime service, wherein you can even get a product delivered in less than 2 hours in a metro. So and brand engagement, brand promise, whatever you are offering, what is the unique part of it? You're continuing to work on that. You're continuing to offer that as an experience to the customer, not just saying it in the brand. I always keep on saying this: money is merely a reward for solving problems. Let us say if I am to get this room cleaned up, so who do I need? I need any person who has 2 hands. Maybe a person with 1 hand may be also able to do it, but a person with 2 hands is readily available. He does not need any education. He does not need anything. So I can pay him an X amount of money and say, okay, Baba, you come and do this cleaning up. But the moment I need somebody to drive my BMW, I need the guy to have a certain amount of skill sets. So those skill sets, finding those skill sets, somebody who has already driven a BMW is a problem for me. So I'm willing to pay more compared to the guy who is maybe getting a driver to drive a Maruti or a Mahindra or whatever. So I'm willing to pay more. So this guy that I have, a driver who comes and drives my car, is wearing this cap and he becomes a driver and he gets paid more than what the first person got just for doing the cleaning job. But let me tell you, the same cap is also worn by another driver. But this another driver drives a airplane, pilots. He's also doing the same job, except that instead of driving my BMW, he's driving SpiceJets or Go Airs or somebody else's plane. Now let me tell you, if that is the real truth, then the difference between the money that I pay to the driver and to the pilot, two different, completely different. Similarly, the same set of hands that I was talking about, which the driver also uses, along with maybe the feet also at times, but the doctors also have the same 2 set of hands. But doctors spend 10 years in understanding, experiencing, educating themselves, getting skilled. So the difference between a pilot's salary and a doctor's salary, or a housekeeper's salary and a doctor's salary, or the money that you are paying them. Similarly, if we today say that a doctor, compare that to a researcher, a person who or a person who's developing medicine, hugely varying salaries again. So money is primarily a reward for solving problems. So how do you find your problem and how do you create? Entrepreneurs don't have those issues because entrepreneurs employ all of them. So you don't need to actually be a doctor yourself. You can set up a hospital, and that if you know how to make it run, you can employ nurses, doctors, administrators, and you can make it run. The idea is that which problem are you going to solve? Where is the problem lying? Now, this is one of the things that I talk about. And I always say, when you are starting a startup, live in the future, little bit ahead of your time. Figure out what is that problem, what is missing in this world at this point in time, and maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Write it down, bounce that idea with a couple of friends, with people. I have a lot of people that I mentor who keep on WhatsApping me a lot of ideas, and I keep on throwing them out most of the time. But there are sometimes I get amazing ideas, and like Sushma ji explained, we help people in creating prototypes. Government offers funding for it. So you create a prototype. Once you have a prototype, you show it to 100 people. Iterate on the prototype until it makes sense for everybody. And I would always say, whenever you're doing something like this, please find a co-founder. Don't try and do everything yourself. And then you have the normal, you set up a company, look for funding, and launch. Now, launch and follow up with users. These are very important timings. You cannot launch before your product is actually ready, and you cannot launch much after it. So it has to be right timing. Similarly, when you follow up with users, the people that have actually been using your product or service, you have to understand every bit of why they are coming back or they're not coming back. And if they are coming back, you get to a 1,000 user mark, and stick back to the first slide which I showed you. 5% a week. That's all you need to grow. In 4 years, you'll cross 25 million users. Exactly the same way, if these guys are not coming back, go back to start point one. Go back to iterate, and then launch again. So continue this cycle till you get to the success. This is the only way to have a successful startup. A lot of people ask me, how do you raise money? There's lots of ways to raise money. You have to decide on basically what is your main value proposition, creating a prototype, test with the customers, build a functional model. When you have some traction with 1,000, 10,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, you monetize it. And then keep on developing the idea further and create a pitch. At that point in time is when you find investors. And you keep on pitching till you find the right person who will give you the right amount of money. And let me tell you, never ever give up. Because if you have the right idea, and if you have the right sets of consumer experience, the engagement, I would say the innovation in your product, wherein the customer can never go back to what he was using earlier, you have to make it. You will make it. There's no two ways about it. It is not something that is an if. It's only when. So I keep on talking about this slide, which is, so what all is available? Which are the segments that we can talk about? So energy in the future. Energy is going to be a big question mark when it comes to the amount of energy we are using today and what we're going to use in the future. So any and all solutions as far as energy is concerned. Artificial intelligence. We have humongous amounts of data. How do you use that data? Primarily to predict things and handle that along with analysis to be able to cater to any and all situations. Robots. In the future, we're only talking about in the year 2025. It's only India which will have a sizable working age population. Every other country will have no working age population. They'll be to import people from India, or you're going to robotize most of the functions. So that is a big yes. Biotech. We all know, right now, whatever we are facing right now in the COVID time, this is not going to go away. It's going to continue. So what we are primarily looking at is innovation in biotechnology, innovation in medicine, innovation in medical devices. There's so many fields around this. Pharmaceuticals, healthcare, all of this is connected, interconnected in some way or the other. We still have a lot of ailments that we don't have answers for. My father passed away from ALS. I'm still hoping. I keep on donating some small amounts of money to people here and there, primarily so people who are working on a cure. But there's none today. There's no cure for cancer, especially if it's detected late. Food and water, two major areas which will never run out as an option. Always need for more and more innovation. Education and training, huge amounts of money are going to be spent over the next 20, 25, 30 years as far as education is concerned. We talk about internet infrastructure and the base structure of how we are using modems. We went from cable internet to wireless to now fiber and now 5G. This is the entire sphere where data transfer is going to be a major puller. So look at that. Governments around the world are looking at continuous solutions. We just interact with the governments not only in India but across the world for how they are reaching out to people, how they are making processes easier. That is a big. Most of our Indian IT companies have made their money from solutions which they've offered to the government. So huge possibilities there. Human augmentation, augmented reality, transportation, jobs, programming tools, entertainment, diversity, developing countries, huge opportunity there. What can we offer them? What can we do with them? Enterprise software, financial services, telecommunication. This list is endless. I have only been able to put up 22 here. But if you ask me and if you come across to me and tell me, okay, Vinod, tell me exactly what, I have something here, I can tell you there'll be a million opportunities in each sphere. That is the possibility. And that is the possibility that we as people, we as, potential risk takers have to look up to. Then what is it that we can offer? And this is what I've taken from Paul Graham's 13 sentences of startup survival rules. You need to pick up good co-founders. You need to launch fast. You let your idea evolve. Understand your users. Better to make a few users that love you than a lot who don't, who are like, he's okay. It's not a great product or it's not a great service. Find those few users and figure out what moves them and move forward with them. Offer surprisingly good customer service. Without it, you can make a great product. I'm telling you, nobody will buy it. We have 100 examples. You make what you measure. Whether it's customer acquisition, whether it's outreach, you have to measure each and every part of what exactly are you doing. Everything has to be measurable. And try and conserve your spend. Don't go overboard in spending. And when you talk about profitability, at least be able to buy your own lunch from whatever you are doing. Don't say that, I'm going to pay myself 10 years down the line. It's how I'm going to work. The least you can do is you should be able to put food and water in your own mouth. Other than, running your operation. That's the least your setup should be able to do. Avoid distractions. And by distractions, I don't mean girlfriends and boyfriends and so on and so forth. I say any sort of distraction. A job offer, somebody else saying, I come and work with me, especially when you already have an idea which is evolved. And most important, don't get demoralized. I have seen a lot of friends that have got demoralized. They sort of give up and say, okay, no, my parents are not liking it. I'm down shit creek. I don't know what to do. I have no idea. And most importantly, when you are faced with a wall, when your deals don't work, when you're not getting any deals, don't give up. That is the time you are going to see change in your life if you are going to stay on. So these are the 13 sentences, and this, like I said, I have taken from Paul Graham. extremely amazing guy that I admire in terms of what he's able to do with Y Combinator in the US. Um, some of the mistakes that I could put together: single founders flounder. Single founders don't do well. A bad location for your business is going to kill it. If you don't have a niche and that is sizable for your market, for your segment, for your TG, it's not going to work. Have a sizable niche, not just a marginal niche. So, if nothing else in the world, say at least 4 billion people, 2 billion people are potential customers for you. That would be great. If you have only 300 million, that's also great. If you tell me there are only 550,000 customers around the world who will go for your services, kill the idea. Or rework on it to make it better so that it can reach out to others also. All sorts of things, obstinacy, but when you have bad people working around you, choosing wrong platforms, when you don't launch at the right time, or you launch too early, that again is a very, very important thing. You have to know the timing of when to launch. And without having any specific, you say, oh, I'm going to make this service or this product and it's going to work for everybody. That doesn't work for anybody, my dear friends. You have to have specific users in mind when you're talking about having a sizable operation that will grow. More importantly, don't raise too little money. Raise enough which can help you run the operation smoothly without having to cringe on small things every day, but at the same time cringe a little bit. Don't go out of your way and keep on spending money. It won't work. Again, if you raise too much money, you will be left with very little. So don't raise too much money. Have excellent investor, excellent co-founder, excellent employee management skills. If you don't have them, you are not going to be successful. You have to work with everybody else to be able to move forward in life, or not only in life, but also specifically when you are starting up. You have to be able to work with everybody, have great cordial relations with everybody, understand everybody's point of view. If you're not able to do that, it's going to be killing. And especially if you do that with investors. I'm being an investor. I know exactly what happens when your mentee gives up, or he says, I can't handle this, you're too tough, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Don't sacrifice users or what they expect from you just to make profit. Don't ever do that. Always get into the middle. When we talked about Devendra Bhai Shah, or when we talked about Paras Pharma, all of these stories are guys who've gone to the field themselves, done distribution themselves, understood at the ground level what is required, not just sat in an office and told somebody else, go and get me a survey or do a survey for me. The one other very important thing that I feel that kills startups, that may be really, really good, is also fights between founders and half-hearted efforts. We have a lot of situations where you've had half-hearted efforts which don't take you forward any which way. So that's the sad story when you talk about startups. Sushma ji was talking about, we select 20 people for our Startup Essentials course every 3 months, and we then help them, mentor them, and help them incubate their ideas and so on and so forth. And especially when it comes to prototyping, business planning, seed financing, and then also in terms of moving from the seed stage to the acceleration or the growth stage. Here's a world startup map that I wanted to share with all of you. And what we primarily do as people that are looking at enabling this ecosystem for all of you is, we don't just look at what you can do in India or in Bombay or in Delhi or in place A. We have a person that has gone from Narsi Monji Institute and she's right now in Brussels, and she raised close to $20 million, out of which she's already got the first tranche. Now, these are the possibilities or possible destinations that we can help you with. I'll take you further on what all, the UK, for example. You can go for a startup visa which lasts you for 3 years and 4 months, and the amount of funding that is available there, amazing. There's a startup visa offered by Denmark, again, amazing amounts of money available, and if you're able to add to their, I would say, the ecosystem in any way, they support it fully. Sweden offers residence permits, including paying you for people that you employ if you have a great idea. And you just need to, in the first instance, prove that you have a great idea in all of these jurisdictions or countries. Ireland, amazing startup program there. Singapore, New Zealand, Australia. Singapore, we know a lot of Indian companies that start up here and then move to Singapore for conquering the world market and getting funded and basing their base company out of. Germany, again, amazing ecosystem for entrepreneurs, amazing amount of financing support, and everything else that is required. They have a great ecosystem for startups. Italy, I would say so, but again, great possibilities because they are looking, there's open as an economy. They're looking forward to innovators to come and work for them. Chile and France, again, two very important countries. Canada, of all the countries, has a great business program which allows you to go and set up a startup once you have some sort of a base support or a business that's already come to a certain level. Of all the countries, Thailand have started issuing a smart visa, which is primarily specifically for, I would say, startups. Belgium, I just talked to you about. They have this golden visa, which is basically the investor visa, but you have to just show that your idea is the best. On the other hand, in India, what we have is what we call the Startup India. The one big advantage it offers us is that any profits that you make in the first 3 years after your registration as a startup are exempted from tax. So you don't pay any tax. Very useful for investors when they are sure that you have a great product or a service that you're going to launch, and the investor would happily come on board and then maybe exit in the 4th year when you actually start paying taxes. So that's me. Now I'm going to go on to certain questions that let me look at what sort of questions people are asking and reply that. And I'm also requesting Sushma ji, if you can come on board. Welcome back, Sushma ji.
Thank you, Vinod sir. That was quite an insightful, power-packed webinar, I must say. And I'm sure all our viewers have found it quite valuable. Let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and this is just the overview of what plethora of possibilities exist for startups. It's just the right kind of hand holding, guiding, and mentoring is what is required, and just start shooting your ideas. I am also very glad to inform you that India SME Forum, as an extension to this webinar, runs a Startup Essentials program in the SEED arm of India SME Forum, which I already mentioned. It's the Asian Center for Economic and Entrepreneurship Development and Education. So we run a Startup Essentials program, which is for 4 weeks. It's simply 3 hours a week. And I'm sure there are many questions that are there in your mind. So to find answers to those, you must explore this program and find answers to setting up your startup, $1 million startup for yourself. With that, sir, would you like to take some more questions?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, there's a question here from Reza. Reza asks that what is it that is required primarily from going from startup stage to the next stage. Well, Reza, the first thing is that, like I talked about, find the problem that you are going to address. Once you have found a problem that you're going to address and you have the solution for that problem, that is it. That's the base. Start working on that first. Growth and all that comes much more later. We have to look at first whether we have a great product or a service that we are going to bring out to customers. If we do, you are welcome. Please come talk to us at Acid or at Setiba, and we'd be happy to get behind you. We'll put you in front of industry stalwarts from your very industry who will vet your idea. And if the ideas are good, let me tell you, we have 86,410 odd members today, out of which we have around 6,000 which are industry leaders across segments, across various sectors. So wherever you feel there is a possibility of putting this idea in front of somebody who might even directly invest in your company as an extension of his own company. So we have a lot of members like that, and that is the one thing that we are obliged to do, because what we feel is entrepreneurs also need new entrepreneurs. That is the one way to grow, wherein you already are doing something as an entrepreneur, and uh, you somebody else comes to you, exactly what Google does, exactly what Lars Tobro did when they were trying to expand. So these are the things that are very easily possible. Feel free to buzz me, talk to us, whatever you feel like.
Yeah, I mean, any queries,
Naveen
any
says
guidance?
first register. Well, Naveen says first register and then find investor, or find investor then register. No, my dear friend, you register first, and then we will help you reach across to investors at the right time. You see, don't be in a hurry to raise money when you may not need it. And if you take in money too early, you'll burn yourself out, and you'll burn the money out without actually having a great system already done, or a sizable number of I would say customers or users. That's going to kill the startup itself. Praveen says, on what basis can I need? I need co-founders. I chose one of my friends, but he was doing it as he's free in COVID. I suck to find a co-founder. Doesn't matter, Praveen. Keep looking, and if you can't find one, we have a lot of possible people. Like I said, we can help you get a co-founder in an existing entrepreneur from India SME Forum, who might be may not be directly from your business, but we can get you somebody who has the experience of running a business, so he can be your silent co-founder and help you do some of the work, which is the angle that we bring to the table, which I don't think any other incubator or any other startup ecosystem in India offers today. So that is exactly what is possible. So feel free to approach us, talk to us. Well, I did put up my own email and everything else at the end. I'm going to add that to the stream again. Here it is. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, my email, or my Facebook, and ask questions. And also, we are going to talk about uh, the ACED, the startup opportunity. It's right down, scrolling down in the ticker. So these are the numbers and the websites. So feel free to WhatsApp, text, ask questions, whatever you feel like. So we'd be very, very happy to reply to any questions, comments, anything that you need. Manish asks, Indian government and system can support me. Yes, Manish, you can be supported, but the PMO is not the right person or the right organization to support you. Governments primarily work through implementing agencies through which you can get support, funding, I would say guidance, mentorship. That is precisely what we do. So we help people, provided you have the right idea, provided we are convinced, and you are able to convince us. If you are able to convince us, we will help you do all the steps required for getting the money for your prototyping, for getting the money primarily for your outreach, also designing your base system wherever else it is possible. So, and especially also if you have a possibility in some other country around the world, we'll also help you with that. So it's not just that we want you guys to stay stuck to India if the idea has a much bigger connotation. uh, Preeti is saying, thank you very much. I applied for the membership and waiting for the approval. Hope to get started soon. Thank you, Preeti. You're welcome. I'd be glad to connect and look at. Rajesh is asking, what are the essentials? Well, essentials, you need to apply to become part of the Setiba, I mean, you'll find me also as part of that ecosystem. We have Mr. Ban, we have Mr. Rajdar, quite a few people, established people who will be there to support you guys, help you guys with whatever else is required. And essentials, well, it's not easy to give you essentials in a matter of 5-10 minutes, but feel free to write to us. And what we can do is also maybe share the presentation with you, and as well as there is going to be some sort of an orientation when we basically start the next essentials course, so you can join that course. My feeling is it's an out of the world, and don't worry about the money. It's just 5,000 rupees. Vaishali is saying how to cross check whether our idea is suitable. Well, like I said, Vaishali, I already briefed in the presentation a few things to look out for. But feel free to buzz me, write to me, email to me, and I can help you check out. At the same time, please be assured that I'm not going to steal your idea just in case you're stealing, sending me the idea. If required, take out a NDA or a non-disclosure agreement from the internet. Send it to me along with the idea when you're sending it, so that I sign the NDA before I see the mail. So that's a good idea, especially when you are bouncing off the idea with anybody else also. Um, Bhumika is saying, thank you, Vinod sir. It's impressive. I think we can share ideas. Looking forward to it. Praveen is saying, my idea is an existing idea. I don't have money in my hand, but I still continue to R&D. But I didn't relate to my idea, to my studies. Even I don't have money to hire a person. I'm totally confused. Praveen, we are here exactly for people like you that have the urge to primarily do something different, do something bigger. So feel free to reach out. Whatever we are able to do, we will do to help you, to support you, because there are not too many people like us out there who are willing to just do create jobs. There are a lot of people who are willing to do jobs. One of my associates did for yesterday, put in an ad for a video editor, and he's inundated. There is 1,400 people that have applied. So this crazy number of people that are out there that are only willing to do jobs, and there is then some of us. There's just 6%. I showed you in one of the slides earlier. Only 6% people that don't want to do jobs. They want to create jobs. So welcome to this part of the world. Come along with us. We will ensure that we support you whichever way we can. Amay is saying one of our co-founders has worked well in technical aspect, but to grow we need to have a little more experienced person. No, it will not cost you more. You see, Amay, the concept is we have loads and loads of entrepreneurs who are from across various streams. So if we find the idea is doable, what we can do is that we can actually put in an entrepreneur or two entrepreneurs or five entrepreneurs and put you in front of them and tell them, here is an idea, listen to the guy, and if you feel it is good, come on board with him. So then what happens is you don't have to pay for your offices, most of the stuff that you primarily need when you're setting up. So part of that is taken away. Plus you have a co-founder who might invest 25, 30, 40% in your business, or maybe 10% in your business, but his advice, his knowledge, his experience may be much more valuable than all of that. So that could be one way. Apart from that, during our groups that we create primarily for all of this, for setting up a primary group within startups, we also are trying to create networks where you can talk to each other, where you don't need us, but there are two people who are trying to do different startups, and they can talk together and say, okay guys, I have a better idea, why don't you come and work with me. Ranjan is Arpita is saying, tell me please how webinar can help us. A webinar, I'm not sure whether it can help you or not, Arpita. Whatever I had, I shared with you. This is the SAR of my life and what my learnings are, and I have taken from so many people like you itself, people who are entrepreneurs. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. Now, Preeti is saying, does it really help having, not only there are a lot of investors who believe in that. A lot of investors out there, Preeti, will not fund a single founder. So be very clear when you are actually going to the next stage. It's very, very important, and there's historical data, statistics to show that only 2 or 5% of startups which don't have co-founders succeed. Name any of the big successful enterprises or startups that have become big or billion-dollar companies. They all have multiple founders. Amay, thank you. What is the age criteria? There's no age criteria. If you are Shashi, you are 69, you're welcome. Please come in and join us. The older, the better. I always say somebody who's experienced through all the ifs and buts of life is the right person to actually be able to do everything. Ashish says, "How do I find investors?" I did talk about how to find investors. There are specialist webinars that are being done specifically to pitch ideas. There are a lot of people that are primarily looking at putting entrepreneurs in front of investors. There are loads and loads of networks that are available for pitching to investors. We'd be happy to support you in reaching out to them also. Nilesh says, happy to see such efforts to grow MSME. Send us joining link, of course. Nilesh, there's a number on your screen right now in the ticker. It is 771 0000 933. There's the number now. It's 771 0000 933. Please send her a message saying startup and your name. You'll get back to they'll get back to you. Shashi says, I also need help in marketing my products. Absolutely. In fact, Prahlad Kakkar, the ad guru, who is the chairman of India SME Forum, and I run a joint program called Mentor for Entrepreneur, which is primarily only for branding and marketing. So if you have I would say possible winner, we'd be absolutely glad to be able to support you. No more questions. Sushmaji, over to you. I think I'm out of questions now. I hope a lot of people are going to send me information, so which I'll continue to reply to. And guys, I am available. So don't run away if you don't get a reply immediately. Wait for a bit of time. I will send you a reply. I generally reply to every mail that I receive. Sushmaji, back to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, I mean, sir is very prompt in responding to each and every query and message that he receives from all the entrepreneurs and all the aspiring members who seek his mentorship and guidance. In fact, he is currently mentoring more than 12,000 entrepreneurs. So I'm sure he's crunched for time, but he definitely responds.
Sushmaji, I don't just mentor. I'm like a pincushion for most of them. So they keep on, putting things my way. I only keep on responding, and I feel that is the least we can do. If we are not able to support our people, our young people, in able to be able to find their own destiny, find a direction, then it's worthless. Living, because that's the least we can do. And most of these questions are answers everybody does not have, which is a bigger issue.
So, yes, sir did say out loud the number where you can get in touch for the Startup Essentials program. I will also spell the email ID where you can write to us for any queries or anything about the startup program. You can write to us on ACEED, that is ACEEDE. I repeat again, ACEEDE, at indiasmeforum.com. You can write to us about any queries on the Startup Essentials program, as well as the webinar that we just had. So any queries related to ideas, funding, which sector, markets, please write to us. And the Startup Essentials program is going to be launched on the next batch, rather, is being launched on 30th of July. So it's in a week's time. Please get in touch with us, and more details, anything to do with India SME Forum, all the activities and initiatives of India SME Forum, membership to India SME Forum, you are welcome to write to me on dg@indiasmeforum.com. I repeat, dg@indiasmeforum.com. With that, I thank Vinod sir for his time and such lovely insights, so valuable. And I thank all our viewers, our members who have joined us today, tuned in for this webinar on how to set up $1 million startup. Thanks again. Keep safe and keep working. Bye bye. Thank you.